Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries, and let me tell you, brother, Tyler Breeze. Speaking of Breeze, this was refreshing. This was a unique perspective, but to be quite honest, this isn't the first time I've heard Tyler Breeze say something similar to this. So we're going to talk about what Tyler Breeze said on Twitter, and we're not going to go. Matter of fact, we might do a smart tiers segment here because I think that people are really upset about what Tyler Breeze said. So after I say what I have to say, we're going to take a look to see what people are saying on the Twitter machine about our boy Tyler Breeze. So I went and got the full quote of what Tyler Breeze said because he really bothered some people. He was talking about people complaining online. So this is what Tyler Breeze had to say. My least favorite time, I remember being so frustrated. I hate this. I hate when people are like, I was never given an opportunity. I was never given a chance. I was held down. That's a whole separate conversation. But that's such an excuse of, you don't know what you signed up for. We signed a piece of paper for a certain amount of money to sit on the bench and get used if we get used. If they choose not to use you, it doesn't mean you go on social media and bitch and complain and go, I'm being held down. Nope. If you're not okay with that, then quit your job. That's what this is. It's a casting call. Sometimes they need you, sometimes they don't. It's always a roller coaster. You're going to get used, but you can't stay at the top forever. You're going to get cycled out. People are so entitled, they're like, I should have got this and you deserve this. No, none of us deserve anything, and we're lucky to be part of it, and we're lucky to get an opportunity. If that opportunity comes, you better be ready and nail it. And you might get more opportunities. That's a weird culture going on. He's talking about entitlement. Now, Tyler Breeze was in WWE for several years. He was in WWE for 10 years. Okay, 10 years. Spent most of that in developmental. Again, Tyler Breeze was one of these guys who, if you listen to the stories that they've told, he was on the verge of getting fired before he created the Tyler Breeze character. So he's not like some big superstar that they brought in and was making so much money immediately. And that wasn't the case. But this also isn't the first time Tyler Breeze has basically said, hey, being a role player and making that cash and treating this just like a job and not letting your ego get in the way. This isn't the first time he said this. Let's go back to 2017. Somebody tweeted to him, or he might have been vanity searching his name or something, and they was talking about how Velveteen Dream, this was back when everybody liked Velveteen Dream, that if he came up to the main roster, he would be another Tyler Breeze, meaning he would be ruined and shit upon like everybody else who comes up from NXT. And Tyler Breeze responded, another Tyler Breeze? I wonder if people realize I was never ruined, quote unquote, on SmackDown Live. And I'm currently buying my third house. Being another Tyler Breeze sounds pretty solid. See, fans hate when he talk about this. And they hate it when Dolph Ziggler did it. They hate it when Seth Rollins did it. They hate when these wrestlers are talking about money because that's all they care about. They have this weird bubble where they think that all wrestlers should care about the love of wrestling and everybody should want to be the champion. It's like sometimes, I think I said this before about Eddie Guerrero, where like Eddie Guerrero was like a great six man. Sometimes those guys shoot for that. They like, man, I may not be able to be the starter, but let me get on the bench. Let me be the sixth man. Like I can make six figures if I sit on the bench in the NBA. Maybe I can't be LeBron James. Maybe I got to be whoever's coming off the bench. I can still make a grip for myself. I can still put some money aside. I can still, make a life for myself. That's how, smart people think. You shoot to be the best. You shoot to be as good as you can. You shoot to be ready if you have to be in the starting five. But if you end up just being a role player, that's cool too. So this was just in 2017. In 2020, okay, 3 years later, somebody says to him, he's talking about being in WWE for 10 years. I think he was joking with a colleague. I don't remember who, though. I think it might have been Austin Theory he was joking with. And he mentioned, let me know when you've been in WWE for 10 years or something like that. And some fan says to him, bro, I don't think that's a good thing if we really think about your career in the last 10 years. So Tyler Breeze adds some much needed perspective to whoever this J-Bron is that's talking to him. He says 10 years in the WWE. You're going to say that's a bad thing. I'm 32. I could retire today. I own 4 houses. I own a wrestling school to teach people how to wrestle. Why? Because I'm really good. My other reasons I should be sad about my pathetic life. And then, of course, he put emojis. That's nuts. That's nuts. And he does this to people all the time. Like, it wasn't until I remember seeing this stuff, but I never really put it together until now. Like, Tyler Breeze is a smart motherfucker, right? He's a smart guy. Like, he knew his role. He got in. He caked up as much as he could. He was like, okay, I'm living like tomorrow's the last day. He like a squirrel putting them nuts away. He went and bought him some property. He got him a side gig. Now all he do is play video games with his homeboys. And he's like, I'm done. I'm straight. And other people are like, but you're a job guy. He's like, fuck. Who cares? I love this. I love this stuff, man. Well, it's not really smart tears. I looked, I purposefully waited until I was going to record the video to take a look on Twitter. It's not really smart tears. It's actually smart cheers. This is a smart cheers segment. Let's go through and watch people throw rice in the air for our good buddy, Tyler Breeze. So somebody says, Tyler Breeze got a house built while chilling and catering. Nice work if you can get it. I absolutely agree. He got 4 of them joints. Somebody says, that's why I like Tyler Breeze more than this jobber, Mujaba Ali. Oh, Lord. Tyler Breeze with the W this week. Tyler Breeze with a W for that sick of wrestlers bitching and crying over not getting opportunities. Well, bitch, get your ass up, work hard, get right, and if Vince sees that, then you'll get your opportunity. Until then, shut your bitch ass up and stop crying like a hoe. Man, this guy. The language of this guy. You kiss your mama with that mouth? Anyway. See, Tyler Breeze opens up about the frustrations during Greatest Wrestling against Sheamus on previous Alexander Wolf. What? Is this English? There's not a period. Ain't a comma. No semicolons. There ain't nothing. There's not even ellipses in this piece. What is going on here? See, people going after Tyler Breeze for being honest instead of sour ego like everyone else that get released. Keep in mind he had fun, but definitely wasn't the top bill as singles competitor since his first run in WWE NXT. But he rocked it as a tag team partner. Hey, Tyler Breeze, is Ali wrong for complaining when the company doesn't fully utilize his potential, or is he just being whiny too? He's being whiny. I think he's pretty clear on that. That's not what Alistair said. That's not what Tyler Breeze said. They're talking about some other people. Matter of fact, let's go into the find these comment sections. No, I don't know what they're talking about. They're talking about Sheamus. Something about Sheamus. I don't know. My boy Kevin Castle. See, this is why I fucks with Tyler Breeze. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to Fightful. Let's see if it's gonna be some people complaining. Let's see. Let's go through this. He just means you're on TV. You aren't going to be a story every week. You got to wait your turn. Yes, he does mean that, but he also means that sometimes you have to be the guy that comes off the bench. Somebody gets COVID, somebody gets sick, somebody gets injured. You might be working more than usual, but you're going to get paid a lot of money just to chill, essentially. And they already know if they're going to make a top star out of you. Somebody's laughing, says, letting WWE know he'll be ready for that comeback call. Absolutely. Absolutely. Most people don't want to sit on the bench. Bench warmer is one of the worst insults in sports, especially football. Yes, but no. Everybody knows somebody got to sit on the bench. Most of the dudes who sitting on the bench in the NFL probably sitting on the bench in college too. They probably sitting on the bench in high school. Like the idea of calling somebody a bench warmer is like, yeah, but you have to be a starter in order to do that. You have to be somebody who is of a higher level. If you're somebody who's not even playing the game, who the hell are you to call somebody a bench warmer? Like, dude, get on the team first. So that's weird. It says, quote, wrestling is wrestling's job is not to make you happy. It is to give you an opportunity and freedom to do whatever you want in this world, like sitting on the bench. And somebody says, if I got paid what they got paid to sit on the bench, I wouldn't complain. Me either. Somebody says, tell Mickey that. Well, Mickey's a legend. She probably has a sense of entitlement because she's been around so long. But yeah, tell Mickey that too, because she should also know that at whatever age she is, she had probably been cycled out and not needed at that time as they were doing something else with other people. So the problem is, if they were doing a good job at running their shows, a lot of those talents would be given a chance and people would be used to their full potential. Championships don't mean anything in WWE because the characters who hold them don't mean anything. That's partially true to a degree, because you could really say championship don't mean anything in wrestling, period. But to be quite honest, even if you book the show perfectly, there's still going to be people who are not booked. You still only have, I don't understand people think, unless the match is going to be a minute and a half. Like if you're going to book like it's, the Reunion Arena, and you're going to have two people just in the ring wrestling for 30 seconds, and then two more people going to come out and wrestle, you're going to have to flub somebody. Somebody's going to get the shaft. And somebody might get the shaft more often than they should. And then people are going to feel gypped if, they get Roman Reigns for 30 seconds because, my God, we got to have time for Cesaro. And what are we going to do how upset is, Angelo Dawkins going to be if he doesn't get his 10-minute match in? Like, what? Come on. Fuck out of here. Let's see. That's not true. Most people would say AEW handles their shows well, and they do. Yet there are tons of talent that don't get showcased enough. Example, Santana and Ortiz. Bear my favorite team in AEW. They're a joke in that division. Somebody says, oh, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that mudslinging. Somebody said, well, that's a pretty dumb statement. If you're not being used, then quit your job. Pretty sure they tried that, buddy. Not everybody did. Trust me. Most people did just complain online. He says, somebody said, I get what he means here, but I disagree with him here. I wouldn't be happy sitting on the bench personally. If he was happy, good, that's good enough for him. Yes, and that's why he did it for 10 years. A lot of people got, pissy and left, but how many people has that really worked out for? It worked out for Cody. It's working out so far for a couple of people that AEW is really getting started. Wait until, let's say AEW is around for 5 or 6 years. It's not going to be the same foo-foo, everybody, kumbaya, everybody's friends shit. It's cool right now because you don't need God, but you do need the devil. As long as Vince McMahon is still around and kicking, there's going to be people who are going to say, oh, well, everything AEW does is great. Once Vince McMahon is in the ground or until AEW is completely grounded to the dirt because, that the bad days are bound to happen, then things will change. But, this whole I'm going to flip out and leave doesn't really work for everybody. Most of the time, people end up in a worse position when they do that. So somebody says it's not entitlement to be frustrated if you're ambitious and motivated to do more with your career and feel you're not being well utilized. Being in WWE is not the be all end all anymore, as an increasing amount of people are clearly beginning to find out. The majority of the biggest superstars in the business were driven and didn't just settle for the spot they were given. Austin, Foley, Jericho, Cody, and so many others, quote, bet on themselves they wouldn't have had the careers they had if they had been Breeze's indoctrinated settle mentality. Well, here's the thing. A lot of those guys had those, they didn't, quote, bet on themselves. Most of these dudes got fired. Austin got fired. It's not like Austin was like, oh, I'm stuck in the mid-card, dang old mid-card. I need to get out of here. No, he got fired. He had no choice. WCW pushed him out. Get out. Beat it. Kick rocks. Get the fuck out of here. And then he went out and did something else. Jericho, sure. I think, but I wouldn't say you bet on yourself if you jump from one major promotion to another. You just kind of said, well, I've hit my ceiling here. Let's go somewhere else. It's not that big of a deal. Cody, same thing. Cody, jumped ship from WWE and pretty much jumped into the indies, but being the son of Dusty probably helped him quite a bit. So they mentioned some names, interesting enough, some good examples. But there's 100 examples of guys who quit. They're not doing anything. So your mileage may vary. Somebody says, here comes the comment section full of non-wrestlers telling wrestlers how they should really feel. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's silly. Let's see. I said, I understand what he means. Some clearly did just what he said, but there were tons and probably still are wrestlers that asked for their release, and WWE simply said, no, they can't work for another company. It's never fair to generalize. Every story is different. I will say that last sentence is correct. I also think sometimes people say and do things, they don't really mean it, and they just trying to get attention. Because they think the squeaky wheel gets the oil. That's what or squeaky wheel gets the grease. They tend to believe that axiom. It's not always the case. Sometimes the squeaky wheel gets replaced. Somebody says, is he saying that he was content with being on the bench and collecting a paycheck? Nothing inherently wrong with that if he was happy, but it makes me less excited to see where he goes. And he was actually my favorite at one point. And the reason why I started watching NXT. You started watching NXT because of Tyler Breeze? I think you got bigger problems than what Tyler Breeze got going on. All right, so he says, I see his argument, but it's hard to stay quiet about your job or personal life in an age where everyone can go online and air grievances. We've seen football, baseball, basketball, etc. take to social media to criticize their team or management. Sometimes you get so frustrated you have to let it out by any means necessary. Is it professional? No, not really. It does make an impact, though, and helps to make a connection with the fans or those who only have an outside view. Just be prepared to deal with the consequences. I think you should not care about what the audience thinks. I mean, be professional. Because if you're going to be a jackass on my team, you'll be a jackass on somebody else's team too. And people really should take that into account. And people do, if we're being honest. Like, it's almost like a relationship, right? Where if you, let's say you're friends with a girl or a guy, whatever your speed is, and y'all been friends for a little while, and all they do is bitch about their ex-wives or bitch about their ex-girlfriends or whatever. If they do that to you, then they will do that about you. And a lot of employers think that way. That's why they go into the interview and they ask you, oh, why did you leave your last job? If you go into, oh, my boss was an asshole, he wanted me to work all this overtime, they'd be like, oh, okay, you talking shit about that job, you talk shit about us. And, sometimes people need to be reminded of that. So this guy says, imagine busting your ass for years in the indies, making a name for yourself, truly loving the art of wrestling, and finally make it to WWE, and this dude tells you it's expected to be wasted talent and condemns you for venting your frustrations to the fans you've gained. Here's the thing. Those fans, minimal. The money you make on the independents, minimal. I mean, if you can make so much money on the independents, why would you sign a WWE contract? Just stay on the independents. And then you can complain about whatever you want, about whoever you want, and then people will stop booking you and you have to go get an office job somewhere. And that's just kind of how it is. Again, you don't need to placate the audience. There's too many people thinking about themselves. And that's a big problem. The fans are so conceited. Everything ain't about me, dog. I don't want to hear, Undertaker complain about his storyline from 1997. I don't give a shit, bro. Like, I want to hear you tell a cool story about it. If it sucked and you thought it was stupid, I mean, he's the fucking Undertaker. It's cool. But I would be like pissed if I was like a little kid and I look online and I see Undertaker complaining about, bro, they burned my face on this storyline. Like, I'm the champ. Why they burning my face? And I'm kind of like, bro, shut the fuck up bitching. What's wrong with you? Mick Foley tweeting about they made me go splat on a concrete floor all over again. Why are they doing this to me? What are you talking about? Shut up. This Twitter is not therapy. Go get a real doctor, you asshole. Get a dog or something. So, there's probably some more of this stuff. Let's see. Can't wait to see the slurs get hurled at Tyler by supposed onside wrestling journalists. You know what? Yes. I should. I'm blocked by most of them. I was about to say I would go look, but I'm blocked by most of them. I'm not about to go around them. It says, but when you're under contract, you cannot simply quit. You can ask for your release, but they can keep you for the length and the more if you're unavailable for part of your contract. So it's hard balance. If you have asked for your release and they say no, then perhaps he says, yeah, you can quit, bro. They can't force you to work. That's the thing. They can keep you under contract for the length of your contract. They still have to pay you. But if you say, look, I'm not working, I'm not coming in, what they going to do? Keep sending you checks and then that's it? No, eventually they're going to stop sending you checks. They're going to say, okay, fuck it, you out of here. But most of these people, they complain online, but they still go to work expecting to get pushed and stuff like that. Let's see how much more of this stuff I can take. Let's see if we can find another website. Let's go under the... All right, so this guy says, as long as it's not in the contract, you're not going to tell me what I can and cannot type on my Twitter. Like, I get what he's saying, and he is welcome to his opinion, but being given shit and told to like the taste of it online and off, no. And this is why you don't hire everybody. This is why they have job interviews. If you're going to be a dickhead, then people are not going to hire you. There have been people who have dickheaded themselves out of positions. Wrestlers, of course, a ton of them. Teddy Hart being one of them. People dickhead themselves out of jobs all the time. People will dickhead themselves outside of the industry. You can just be too much of an ass on shoulders person, and people don't want to deal with you. And I certainly wouldn't want to deal with them. So, all right, that's pretty much it. I don't see anything else. Oh, somebody added Mike Bennett. Holy shit. Somebody added Mike Bennett. That's a perfect cherry on the top of this thing. At Mike Bennett, at Mickey James, at Tucker, at Sin Cara. I don't know what it was about the 2020 releases, but a lot of those people got apps. They just got so angry, and it's stupid. Like most of you guys got paid just sit around and do nothing. You're stupid. You fumble in the bag by just fucking up. All right, so thank you guys for your time. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, sponsor the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Tell me what's worse than learning all that you led to believe was all horse crap. They distort, so question as if you worship.